Save more, spend less. Oh, that's so easy, dude. It's so easy. Just save more money, dude.
I hated that one when I read it.
I know. Hello and welcome to another episode of Millenniotic, the podcast where a couple millennials talk about entertainment, society, and the logistics of life. I am AJ.
And I'm Jason. And this is our 9th episode of the podcast. If you want to keep up to date with our podcast, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube, where you can watch our beautiful faces. You can also follow us wherever podcasts can be found. Spotify, iHeartRadio,
Anchor,
iTunes.
Yep,
yes, all those good stuff. So
and
be sure to do that.
On the YouTube channel, I made a playlist for the too long didn't watch crowd.
Oh, hey.
So I put some clips on YouTube. If you guys check us out there, you can see some of the best of clips if you don't have time to watch the entire episode.
And we'll be adding all those clips to Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that as well. So check it out.
So I want to start this episode off by wishing everybody, hopefully you guys had a safe holiday season.
I know I did.
So I'm glad. Everybody deserves to have a good holiday. And I just wanted to make sure that I wished you guys that.
I got my Whitney Houston shirt. It's Merry Whitmas.
It's Merry Whitmas.
It's Merry Whitmas. I'm good to go.
You know, it's an interesting topic of Whitney Houston versus Mariah Carey.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. We're not going to get into that, but...
Whitney's queen. All right.
So this episode coming out, I believe, 2 days before New Year's?
Yep.
We're going to talk about New Year's and New Year's resolutions in particular because it's a common thing where people say New Year, New Me, right?
Yep, they
that
do.
phrase. And it's because they have these goals set that are going to change their lives, right? So let's give a little history to New Year's itself and how resolutions came about because it's kind of interesting.
And how they kind of sometimes don't always succeed in those resolutions.
A lot of the time, actually, it does.
Yeah, quite a bit.
So it started in ancient Babylon 4,000
Are you serious?
years ago.
New Year's resolutions. Not just New Year, but New Year's...
So what they
New
did...
Year started 4,000 years ago?
So what they did is every new planting of crops was considered the new year after the winter or whatever, right? So that's what they did. And then there was a period where they would go and send sacrifices and all of this kind of stuff for good crops to the gods.
Yeah.
Right. So that was like their time. That was their resolution. They would sacrifice something in hope of getting something back from
or
the
someone.
almighty power, right?
Yeah, or someone.
Or
you know
someone,
what I'm saying?
of
Sacrifice
course.
someone.
A lot of the time. No, it's probably more like goats and stuff, right?
I mean, you'd be
Who knows?
surprised.
There's some crazy people like the Mayans.
Yeah.
The Mayans were crazy.
Except,
people.
you know what I find funny is, like, those people who were sacrificed, they were kind of brought up a little bit. Like, they got, like, royal treatment before it happened, but still.
Right, yeah. It makes, yeah.
You're being sacrificed. All right, so continue with your little history.
So that, and then it goes into Julius Caesar, which is what?
Oh, the Romans.
46 BC.
Yeah, they started
Julius
everything.
Caesar, along with a bunch of mathematicians and the people, astrophysicists or whatever at the time, to schedule a new way for the year to be consistent throughout. So it used to be a 10-month calendar, and they moved it to 12. So that was when they started naming months.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So January is short, or I guess long, for Janus.
Yes, yeah.
The god that
god,
the
yeah.
two-faced god that could see before and behind, right? That was their whole thing.
Yep.
So they changed that so that January 1st would be the new year. And then you would...
So you can see, you're looking behind you, but also looking forward.
Right, and that was when people
That
made
makes sense.
sacrifices to Janus to say, all right, for good fortunes in the future, because he could see it. So he's like, if I make a worthy sacrifice...
Oh, that's cool. That's interesting. Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. A little weird, but pretty interesting.
Weird, but
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
I like their outlook, you know what I mean?
Right. So fast forward modern day, right? New Year's obviously has an impact on people's lives and society where people get a feeling where they could start fresh, right?
Yeah.
So they make the New Year's resolutions.
Yeah. So it's as opposed to putting your future in the hands of a higher power, you're putting it in the hands of yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So 45% of people make New Year's resolutions.
Yes, yeah.
So did you have any resolutions going into this year that you would like to share that may have or failed or you have accomplished?
Well, going into this year, I mean, like, I know myself. I'm trying to set myself a little bit of smaller goals. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Obtainable goals is very important.
like, in like a couple of like our little things like that we've noticed are a lot of trends. Like, find a new job or anything like that. I'm looking to get myself further in my own career with the job that I already have. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
moving up.
I'm working on a promotion, which I'm already like I'm actually communicating with my boss how I can achieve those goals, how I can do this, the training that's going to be required, and what we're actually going to do to achieve those goals. Same with stuff like our YouTube channel. I want to start putting out a little bit more content besides just the podcast. The podcast is still going to be like our little like mainstay. Like, it's what started us. It's great. But it's just like I kind of want to start like doing some other stuff. Like next week we're going to be doing Cats.
Yes. we will be doing a movie review on the movie Cats.
Oh god.
I cannot wait to see this
we
movie.
still haven't gone to go see it, but that's happening soon, and
yes.
I'm kind of dreading it. The reviews aren't looking too good.
It's looks like the biggest troll movie of the decade. That's what it kind of looks like.
Yeah, so I'm gonna torture myself a little bit with that, but
It'll
that's what I mean. Like the YouTube channel, I want to kind of grow that. I want to expand. More subscribers would be nice, but I'm gonna set the bar low. I just want to make new content, make some new fresh stuff. So those are my New Year's resolutions.
So I am 27 for 27 in New Year's resolutions.
Of succeeding?
Of succeed. I'm
'Cause you
27.
don't set them?
I am batting 1,000. You know why?
Yeah.
Because my goal is to exist into the next year.
Love it.
And I am 27 for 27 right
Good.
now in doing that.
Oh god.
So next year, I am going to actually set some goals.
Okay.
I am going to actually make some attainable goals
Yeah.
and try to move my life forward in some sort of way.
Well, I mean, if you don't set expectations, you'll never let yourself down.
Exactly.
So-
Right? And I am just a bundle of joy over here. So 8% of people actually achieve their New Year's resolutions.
Jesus.
So 45% people make New Year's resolutions, and only 8% of those people actually accomplish the
And
goal.
5% of them lie. I'm just kidding.
And that's a plus or minus 8% or so,
plus,
right?
plus or
Yeah,
minus.
yeah. So a lot of the common goals are what? Like there's self-improvement,
Yep. There's exercise.
right? That's a popular one. And then there's like saving money, moving up in the work. So I have a top 10 list from Statistica. I think is how you say it. Statista?
Statista? I'm pretty sure
Statista.
I've heard of them before.
Yeah. They are a stats website. That's what they do, and you can pay to get certain information on studies. This one I was able to obtain for free before they locked me out.
Oh, okay.
So this is the top 10 resolutions that was made for 2019. So number one, 71% of people wanted to say they wanted to either diet or eat healthier. I think that's a very common one.
It is. Because it's New Year's resolution. People are looking to improve themselves in some kind of way or better themselves. What better way to better yourself than to
Reduce the kind of crap that goes into your body.
Yes.
Yeah, that's an easy one you can like think of. But the thing is, you can't set this goal as, okay, let me just eat better. You need an obtainable goal with that, whether it is weight loss or a certain, physical performance that you want to be able to do. You need something obtainable other than just eating better. So usually that's where exercise and eating better go hand in hand, right? So number two is exercise more. 65% of the people say that.
which I think is going to be a very common trend with a lot of these is how vague they are. Which is just
It is fairly vague.
Which is just like that's not how you're gonna like achieve your goals, kind of like you said. Like it's like if you want to exercise more, don't just say I want to exercise more. Say like I remember one year I was like I want to be able to run 3 miles consistently. Like I want to be able to jog or run at a consistent pace 3 miles. So like that was my simple goal for myself, was be able to do that because I love running. I'm not a runner. You know what I'm saying? So
But it's an obtainable goal.
It is an obtainable goal.
It's something you can see progress going towards.
Because it's just like a little bit more every single day you'd be able to do. And I set it so that I had to do it outside. I couldn't just do it on a treadmill. So it was just like, yeah, I can actually see where I want to get to. Or I set it to a map. How far is 3 miles? And it was like each time I'd get a little bit further each day until I finally did it. And I was like, hell yeah.
I do like that a lot of the smartphones nowadays have like the health apps.
Yes.
That pretty much just, if you have location on it, it'll track your route and you can see like all of these stats. It's pretty cool. Like they have heart rate sensors in it. It's like, this is completely unnecessary, but neat, you know?
Yeah, it's true.
It was just like, what else can we fit into this computer in your pocket?
But it's nice because like, oh, average calories that I burn if I run this amount in this amount of time. So it's like, that's kind of convenient to have on your phone.
I think it's 1,600 calories per pound. That's like the rough. So if that's how much you burn. But then you got to think of what you're adding on. So there's like the net metering. So I didn't find this, but I want to ask you what you think the average weight people want to lose, right? Because that's usually the biggest goal.
I know.
I think people shoot way too high.
Way too high.
Especially with not having any sort of plan in place, whether it is just like a meal plan that you can get to help your weight loss, or having some sort of attainable goal with physical performance, whether it's running a certain distance, like you said.
Yeah.
So I thought people would be like, I'm going to lose 50 pounds this year. And that's like, that goal is way too big.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it all depends because it's like, it depends on what your body type is. Like if you are like a relatively fit person, it's going to take you a lot to lose a good amount of weight. Like if you're like, oh, I weigh like 170 pounds and I'm like 5'7" and I want to lose 20 pounds to get to 150. You're not going to lose that fast. But it's just like somebody who like say is on like the heftier side or something like that. It is like, it's not easy. Like nothing's easy, but it does happen in a bit more of a rapid succession, depending on how extreme your change is. When like on average, like someone who is a lot more like stagnant and is a lot more like starts to eat healthy and starts to do more exercise, your results are going to be more extreme than somebody who is already getting out of the house and is already like at least a little bit fit. You know what I'm saying?
So my thought about like the whole losing a lot, like you said, that bigger people can lose more weight easier, obviously. But the thing is, there's usually a plateau point. There's that, I think it's called water weight that people have, right? Where they work that off in the first couple of weeks and they see the progress
and, it's like gone quick,
and they expect it to stay that fast. But then you plateau, you get to what your body actually is.
Yes, that's true.
So that is where the toughest part comes. And I don't know if you know this. I'm sure you do. January is the most popular month for gym memberships.
Of course it is.
So you can see all of these people signing up to go to the gym. They're paying money. They have skin in the game. And they're not taking advantage of the services because they can't motivate themselves. Or that they hit the plateau and then they can't take the extra step to push themselves.
Because it's like 2 months later, people stop going to the gym and then those gyms are just making bank off of all those like memberships that they have.
That people aren't
taking full, that people aren't canceling or taking full advantage of.
Exactly. So that's how they stay in business, especially when you go to the gym and there's no one there. You're like, how is this place running?
Yeah, exactly.
It's the thousands of other people who aren't there they're actually paying for it. So number 3 is lose weight. So that's how 1 and 2 go hand in hand.
Yep.
And that was 54% of the people wanted to lose weight. So number 4 is save more, spend less. Oh, that's so easy, dude. It's so easy. Just save more money, dude.
I hated that one when I read it.
I know.
I'm like, how can you have the foresight that you are not going to have unexpected expenditures that are going to happen throughout your year?
Oh my God.
How can you just be
so
like,
true.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's probably like the biggest factor that it's just like, this is going to fail. You can't just be like, I just want to save money. Once again, it's a very vague goal that you're setting for yourself. If it's more so, it's just like, I want to, I don't know, like maybe like,
this would be a great time
goal
to start investing if you want to quote unquote save more. You shouldn't save more. You should start investing and using that investment to spend your money, right? So it kind of is like a double effect where you're spending less, but you're also saving more because what you're doing is you're just investing in your future.
It could just mean like be like, instead of say I want to save money, learn to spend my money right. You know what I mean?
Right. So that's when you should, everybody should have a savings account, right? But everyone should also have a retirement plan of some sort, right? You need that rainy day fund, which is great for, to have money in the bank. That's what a savings account is for. It's just in case.
Yep. Or just organize your finances better.
But you can't retire on a savings account.
No, you can't.
So that's the point I want to drive home. Is true. You got to spend money to make money, of course. So the new year is a great time because you can take your history of last year, this year, and just go over it and be like, if nothing changes, what can I do to save more money, and where can I put that money?
Yep.
So that's what I'm gonna do for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So it's that first quarter, baby.
It really is. You got to make good on the first because the last won't be as nice. So number 5, learn a new skill or hobby. 26% of people wanted to do this. So learn a skill or a hobby. That's very generic.
It's very generic.
But this is a goal that you can easily obtain if you say, I want to learn how to play golf and shoot under 100. I want to shoot under 100 once or something like that. That's an obtainable goal that you can build towards.
Repetitive motion and stuff like that. I want to learn.
And it's enjoyable. Yeah. So I am all aboard learning a new hobby. And when it comes to skill, that's fairly vague too, because what is a skill?
I guess, I don't know, like a skill. I want to learn juggling.
Right? Is juggling a skill? Yeah. Or for you is, learning how to be better in Premiere or something.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Editing. That's a skill.
Learn how to be better at editing, like streamline my editing a lot
Or
better.
is it like, are people wanting to learn skills for improvement in their career? So if they want to be able to be a better public speaker, that's a goal that they can obtain easily by just going out there and doing it, and eventually you'll get more comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. It's true.
Also, if you have a presentation, what you should do is record yourself. Record yourself doing the presentation in full, and then pick apart what is good, what is bad, and make sure you're prepared. That's the biggest thing if you have a public speaking engagement, is make sure you're prepared, because if you're not prepared, you're going to look like you're unprepared.
Yeah, read your notes.
It's actually crazy. Memorize your notes.
Memorize your notes.
Understand the direction of where your presentation is going as well. Don't go all over the place like we do on our podcast. Don't do that. That's really bad.
Storyboard a little bit.
We just went from saving and investing
to
public speaking.
Yes.
And now we're going back to New Year's resolutions, which number 6 is quit smoking.
Hey, shut your face.
Set that for yourself.
Thanks for that.
So 21.
Thanks for making that public. I hate you.
You're welcome. Shame. You got to do it. That's the best way. Embarrassment is the best way to change something.
I know. Here's my problem with a lot of these resolutions, and I know that I'm very I'm guilty of this myself. But it's like, one of the things that they say when it comes to any of the New Year's resolutions is it takes a long time, and a lot of people don't realize this, is it takes a lot of time and patience to make something make an actual habit out of something. And even same with quitting smoking, whether it's you want to exercise more, whether you want to eat healthier, any of those things, whether you want to quit smoking, it takes time. And it takes about according to research in 2009, they did a study on this with about 96 participants. And what they did was they gave each person a different thing, whether it be drink 2 cups of water after lunch, wake up at 6 a.m. before breakfast, do 50 push-ups before or after waking up. Each person was given one of those goals. They recorded and tried to figure out how long it took before any of those habits became automatic. And it took 66 days on average. It with some people it was 18 days, 21 to a year.
I guess it depends on
it really
the
depends
habit,
on the person.
But
yeah, it really does depend on the habit, because it's I've quit smoking before. I've quit cold turkey for a good 3-4 months. But the thing is, unfortunately, you start smoking at parties, you start rebuilding your old bad habits, because you haven't reached that point yet that you are not vulnerable to falling back into that hole.
Yeah, the good habit isn't strong enough yet.
The good habit isn't strong enough yet. You have to, even after you think it's accomplished, you have to still have that mentality that it can easily fall apart.
Right.
And it's just but they do say that it will get to that point, whether it be a year or 2 years or anything like that, that you can break through that cycle. But it's just, it does take time, and you can't just set a New Year's resolution and expect it to happen immediately right off the bat.
It's not a bad take, because in reality, you gave like a perfect example of it, right? You did quit, but then it happened once, and then you got back on it, right? And
You're going to fall right back on that horse.
Right. So, when it comes to habits and muscle memory too, even in sports, it's 10,000 reps in order for it to become muscle memory. So whatever you're doing, whether it's a video game and you're practicing like a flick, or if it's free throws, anything like that, it's like 10,000 reps before it becomes natural to you. So it is really a grind, but it's something that if you really, really want it, you set your mind to it, you can accomplish these and make it just part of your life, and something that you believe in makes it easier to accomplish the goals. I think if you don't believe that quitting smoking is going to help you be happier, or if eating better is going to make you lose weight, like if you don't have the right mindset and the believability in accomplishing the goal, that's why so many of these fail. That's why 92% of New Year's resolutions fail. And that's really the stat we should be looking at, because negativity drives headlines. I don't know if you knew that. No, you only see bad things in the news, never good things.
I know, it's true.
Number 7 on this list is read more.
Yeah, okay.
I can't read. And it's not because I can't, like I'm illiterate. I actually get headaches if I read a book.
Really?
Yeah. I cannot read more than maybe 10 pages in a book. Going through college was very difficult.
I can imagine. Like, geez, dude.
That's why I'm in a field that doesn't require much reading at all.
See, now that's the funny thing is, like, I have trouble reading as well, but I love to read. Like, reading is one of, like, my favorite things. However, I have some serious, like, ADD, like, probably undiagnosed. But the thing is I always find myself when reading that after so many pages, I start to read, but not retaining a single thing.
My reading comprehension skill is garbage.
It's garbage. Like, it's like I'll read an entire page and not remember a single thing that just
go back
happened.
and read the page again and be like, I don't remember reading any of
Yeah,
I have the same problem.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, however, I found audiobooks and I was just like, hell yeah, like it was great.
That would be a decent way for me to do that.
It keeps your attention, like even just because I enjoy like the feeling of reading, so I would have an audiobook playing while I read along with it, and it helped my comprehension immensely, because it was just like, even if I started to like lose track while reading, I'd just like re-catch myself up with the audiobook. And even at work, I still listen to them while I'm working.
But it's funny that you mentioned like the whole reading a book allows you to retain it, because in 4th grade after recess, we would come in and my teacher, Mrs. Falsey, she was reading us the 1st and 2nd Harry Potter books, I think, that year. That's the only reason I knew anything Harry Potter, by the way. She would actually read the books with the lights off so that everyone can like relax going into the afternoon, right? But I was able to, by hearing her tell the story, I was able actually to retain the story more than if I try to read a book.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I've tried to read books thinking it's a good habit to try to get into. But if my head hurts after I do it, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to try to grind through a headache.
Well, you know how you could do that? You can get a subscription to Audible. I'm just kidding. We're not sponsored.
Audible.
We're not sponsored.
Google.
You can get a free membership, or you can get a free membership, 1-month trial with Audible. You get a free book. No,
free book. Well, the thing is, like, a lot of the e-readers nowadays are fairly inexpensive and accessible. Like, everybody and their mother makes an ebook, right? So
it's as much as any friggin' subscription.
So yeah, but the thing is, public libraries, I believe, if you just pay for your membership there, you can get all their books that they have.
Yes, you can.
So that's probably the best value for that, I would say.
Oh, absolutely.
So number 8 on this list. Find another job. Oh, that's so easy, dude.
That's my favorite.
That's so easy. Just find another job.
Yep, and that's why I kind of like go back to that whole like setting a realistic aspiration, where it's just like, that's too vague. You want to find a new job. Vague. Like, how about it's just like in the job that you are in, try to make that job better if you can. Like, I understand if you work in a toxic environment and stuff like that, it's beyond your control, but
right. Or if you're trying to become, say, like a managing figure, if you want to become a manager of some sort, I feel like that is unobtainable when it comes to finding a new job if you have to go elsewhere to find that kind of position. Mm-hmm. For me, though, finding a new job is not that easy.
No, it's not. It's not. Yeah.
So I don't like this goal in particular. Mm-hmm. 16% of people say that.
Jeez.
And I understand that it's only 16%. So I'm not going to get too riled up about this one.
No.
So number 9, drink less alcohol.
Ooh.
So that one can definitely go into eating healthier because it's actually crazy thinking about people who actually just stopped drinking in general and the amount of weight they lost immediately because it's just empty calories you're throwing into your body, even though you're drinking it, right? You're like, oh, this Coors Light isn't that bad for me.
No.
But 12 Coors Lights, and then another 12, all of it adds up.
It's liquid
bread. It
does.
Liquid bread. It is.
You drink a 6-pack. You drink a 6-pack of beer. You're eating a loaf of bread.
Pretty much. So it's like, that's an easy thing. I say in theory, easy thing, because obviously alcoholism is a disease.
Yes, it is.
Right. So that's obviously a goal that I understand on this for sure, along with quitting smoking, because it's kind of in the same vein. And then the last one is spend more times with friends and family.
Ooh.
13%.
Ooh.
That one should be way higher.
Yeah, it should.
There's no reason you shouldn't
society.
try to isolate yourself on purpose. I'm not saying that these people are like, nah, I'd rather be alone than with my friends and family. But it's obviously not as high on their list. So it's a matter of just priorities.
I would kind of like to talk about like why most of these would probably fail.
Before we get into that, you want an age breakdown of the succession rates?
An age breakdown?
I have an age breakdown from success rates. So people in their 20s... 40% of them complete their New Year's resolution.
Oh, okay.
50 plus, 14%. So you can see that the younger you are, you do have more motivation. You have the energy to tackle these. Because most of the time they're after, your normal day's activities, or it's extra stuff that you're adding on to your day to better yourself, but it's extra stuff that you need to do. So some people obviously can't handle that if you don't have the energy.
Also, this is kind of like, I feel like I wanted to mention this like back in like the hobbies episode, but one thing that I noticed when it comes to like boomers and millennials, so like a big difference, and it probably goes hand in hand when it comes to fulfilling your goals, is I find that a lot of boomers, they really like to like do research, but in a wrong way. Like, you know what I mean? Like an older person, like in like their 50s or like their 50s or 40s or anything like that. They're like, oh, I want to start gardening, or I want to learn how to like clean my house like better and stuff like that. They buy a book, and it's just like they buy like a self-help book, and it's like half of the information is like completely useless. It's like it's not fast like information for you to like actually be able to use and apply to what you have to do. And they tend to overthink things a lot. Like when it comes to these things, like they think that there needs to be a whole bunch of preparation going into just like doing like one of these simple goals, where it's like young people, it's like, man, life's moving way too fast. I gotta catch up. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just like you have that motivation to be able to do these things.
So for like gardening, we would look up a video on, all right, how do I set up a garden?
Yeah, how do I set up a garden?
First thing we would do is probably like Google how to start a garden. And then we would realize, oh my God, there's so many different types of gardens. What kind of garden? Then you go after that. What kind of
things do you want to plant?
You just go online. And you just rumble through all the steps.
It's like, oh, I have to till the dirt. All right, I'm on that. I'll do that first. That's the first thing you got to accomplish. Like, you figure out your steps to accomplish them on your own, rather than going off of like just like way too much information that like needs to be done.
You don't want to stress little things that may or may not happen. You want to make sure you have a solid foundation on the basics when it comes to learning anything new.
It's true, which I feel like that's more so a focus when it comes to like looking anything online on the internet, is like you start with the basics, whereas opposed to you start with like the full fundamentals of everything.
Right. It's like if you were an 8th grader and you were thrown into AP calculus. Like you have no idea what you're doing, but you're there and you're taking notes and you're reciting the notes you're taking. Doesn't mean you'll understand what's actually happening though.
It's like I'm going to look up online how to grow tomatoes, asparagus, green beans, and lettuce. Meanwhile, here's a book on how to grow tomatoes. Just that.
Yeah.
This whole book is just how to grow tomatoes.
Depending on where you are in your climate, you may or may not need to do 3 or to 4, 5, 6, 7 different things.
Yep.
Make sure you try them all.
Yep.
Or you could just, YouTube.
Yep.
I want to start a garden in, wherever you are.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll have a more hyper-local advice that you can get.
So right now I kind of wanted to talk about or kind of look into some research, but also kind of think about ourselves and why most of these New Year's resolutions fail.
Okay.
Now, one of the ones that I actually really enjoyed, I'm going to point this one out first, even though it's not like a major one. It's called The False First Step was one that an article that I found called it. Now, this is when, so say those people who want to start exercising or something like that, they go out and buy a Fitbit. They buy that's
the wrong
their
first
idea.
thing to do.
That's the false first step. It's,
I got
it's
you.
very simple. It's nice. It's a great. It's a great name, and I love that.
I like that one
because it's just that's not where you should be starting. You should start with the resources you have at hand to be able to do what you want to do. Sure, when you buy this Fitbit, you're gonna already feel that sense of accomplishment, that rush of dopamine or anything like that just from buying this. You're like, oh my god, this is perfect. It checks my heart rate. It does this.
Yeah.
But it's not really succeeding in your goal at all.
Yeah.
What have you done to actually start exercising more? You bought a device.
It's one thing to monitor your progress. It's another thing to actually make progress. And that's a perfect example, the Fitbit thing, because that is in essence monitoring what you're doing. But if you're not doing anything, it's going to stay the same.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And another one is they set most of these goals, as we said, they're very vague. But the reason why they're so vague is because they set their goals too high.
Right.
Which
is what I said earlier
exactly.
too.
It's way too much to be able to do. So that's another one. Then which honestly I kind of wanted to pinpoint one, or it was an old viral video that I saw. I have the guy's name written here. It was an old ceremonial speech to the University of Texas by a guy named Admiral William McRaven, who was talking about dealing with the small matters before you can even accomplish the large matters. He said in quote, "If you want to change the world, start making your bed every morning." That was basically the whole speech was just talking about that. He was talking about how when he was in the Navy and stuff like that, he would make everyone make their beds, and he would talk about the important fundamentals of just that, because this is the first thing you do in the morning. You already accomplished something, and it's the last thing that you're going to see when you go to bed. Is a successfully made bed. So it's just you're already setting easy, small, accomplishable goals where you're just how can you expect to accomplish anything big if you can't accomplish anything small? You know what I'm saying?
No, that's a good point, because you don't want to tackle something head on that you're not prepared for, right? So that does make total sense to me.
Yeah. So any opinions of yourself as to why most of these fail, or do you think we've actually hit on most subjects?
They fail because a lot of the time, my guess is that the goals are just too unobtainable.
Yeah.
Unobtainable. That's my takeaway from all of the research that I'm doing, is because a lot of it also has to do with physical appearance, though. I don't see a lot of people. There's some. I don't see the majority of people trying to better themselves when it comes to educating themselves about what's going on.
That's true.
And one episode I want to do on later is what are you woke? Are you quote unquote woke?
Oh yeah.
Right? I think that's a great subject for young people, especially because they think they're woke and they realize that they don't actually know crap.
Well, the thing is it's kind of with the New Year's resolutions. It's when it comes to, I want to change my appearance because I want to make myself look better and stuff like that. But it's just how passionate are you towards that? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It kind of has to go towards what are you actually passionate about? Can you actually really 100% make yourself feel better and look better unless you're actually feel happy about what you're doing? You know what I'm saying?
And it's one thing just to do it. It's another thing to accomplish another goal. So for me, getting in shape and then start dating again and seeing the results from that, that would be a great sense of accomplishment, because in essence I needed one goal to finish my second goal, but because I finished the first one, the second one becomes much easier, most likely, right? If you're in better shape, it's easier for you to attract
exactly
other people, because that's just naturally you're more attracted to that kind of physical appearance.
And it's kind of just like, do you know what physical appearance you want, or what other physical appearance you think other people
exactly
want of you?
Are you working on the wrong thing? Are you taking the first false step? Are you working on your glutes first when you really should be doing some curls?
Exactly.
Right.
It's like, are you woke because you're passionate about these subjects, or are you woke because this is the society that we live in now?
Are you woke because you read an article, or are you woke because you actually did the research into and formed a proper opinion?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Like, and or is it just like you're following the crowd, like everyone else's thing? And it's just like, that's the same thing with physical appearance. Are you happy with the way that you look? Do you have an idea of what you want to look like, or do you have an idea of what you think other people want you to look like? So it's like, how can you set these goals if they're not your goals?
And I think it all comes down to, you got to take care of number one first, and that's you. You got to take care of yourself first. So whatever makes you happy, I'm sure will make anybody else happy.
Exactly.
If they don't get happy from it, then it's not the right fit. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy as that. Mm-hmm. So that's it for this episode on New Year's resolutions and New Year, and how it kind of came to be, and the New Year, New Me phenomenon, especially with social media, how that's blown up, right?
Yep.
So like we teased earlier in the episode, next week,
Cats.
we're going to go see Cats. We're going to go see it. And it'll be a little bit of a different kind of episode, because we'll talk about the movie itself, and then like how society took on the movie. I think that'll be the most interesting thing about it, is how it was accepted, and like it got reanimated.
Oh yeah,
because people were not happy.
They apparently
so that's
put out
another
a patch.
thing. Yeah, they pretty much patched the movie.
Movies have patches now.
This is crazy.
Like, oh, video games messed up. Let's do a patch. A movie? Like,
right.
What is happening right now? This is the world we live in. We're gonna fix it in, like, we're not even gonna fix it in post.
Fix it in post.
We're gonna fix it in post. Like, how wild
it's
is
ridiculous.
That? That's insane.
Yeah. So, until then, let's get this bread.
Acquire that grain.
Till this week.
Have a great week.
And Happy New Year, everyone.
Oh.